Are you ready to drastically improve your pleasure and performance in the bedroom? I'm going to share 11 powerful masturbation hacks. These tips are game changers designed to improve your solo and partnered experiences, whether you're wanting to enhance stamina or take your intimacy off the charts next level. When we learn to first be our own best lovers and have a level of mastery solo, you're going to enhance that experience you have with your lover. I'm Dominique DeVita. I'm a registered nurse and master Tantra coach. Today, we're diving deep into the world of male pleasure. And whenever men are having more pleasure, women are having more pleasure too. I've helped countless men transform their sexual experiences by integrating ancient wisdom of Tantra with modern approaches. Make sure you watch till the end and let's get started. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be sure and see what videos I have coming up for you next. Now, the benefit of doing this with Tantric practices is Tantra helps us have a mind-body connection. In our modern world, we are like machines walking around and operating from the neck up. Tantra, we can use these practices and use our five senses to drop more deeply into our bodies. That way we experience more pleasure, and it helps you to become a better lover, because we can only connect to our lover's body as deeply as we've learned to connect to our own. So if we are disconnected from the energetics, the flow of the arousal energy that's happening in our bodies, we won't have that same level of sensitivity to make that connection with a lover. So it begins first with us. Remember, you are your longest lasting relationship from your first breath to your last. When you master the relationship you have with yourself, you start to have mastery and better sexual experiences. Why this is important: when we're operating like robots from the neck up, we can have less sensitivity to sensations as well. So you may feel a little bit numb, you might not feel as much sensitivity, and this can impact your erections too. The first tantric tip is to take your time. Be slow with yourself. When you can slow down whenever you're having self-pleasure, you're actually going to also be able to slow down when you're with a lover as well, because you start to learn to pace yourself in this way. You start to learn to be able to receive and hold more pleasure in our bodies. When we want to be epic lovers, it's also about how much pleasure can we receive and hold within ourselves? How much are we able to connect to that pleasure within ourselves? So being able to connect with this and take our time and slow down is key. If we're rushing through when we're self-pleasuring, we're giving a message, even through manifestation, law of attraction in the universe, that we don't really allow ourselves to fully receive things. And so how we show up in the bedroom is how we show up in the world. And what will happen is we'll wonder, why am I not manifesting this? Why am I not having more success? Why am I not making more money? But the thing is, if you're pushing things away, including pleasure, and limiting that experience, you're limiting your capacity outside of the bedroom as well. So you want to have a body and a nervous system that can hold more of your sexual energy, hold more of the pleasure, and you can hold this, and then you'll be able to receive more of it and be this vessel of amazing pleasure. And you'll be able to share that with a lover. This is going to increase your charisma and your magnetism too. When you first started learning how to self-pleasure as a teenager, you start to do things really quick because you don't want to get caught by your parents, right? So you know how to get from point A to point B really fast. Then with neuroplasticity in our brain, you start to get used to doing this. This is mind-body connection. It's a pattern. The groove gets deeper and deeper into your brain, that this is your pleasure pathway, and you go down that path very fast. So then you're wondering, when I'm with a lover, why am I not able to last as long as I would want to last? I would like to last longer, so I would be an unforgettable lover. But whenever you're with yourself, you're rushing through the whole process. So slowing things down and getting your body used to taking more time is going to help you to do that whenever you're with a lover. With women, it takes us longer to be orgasmic. So the longer you're able to last, the better the experiences are going to be for both. So slow down. And most of the time, we keep the pleasure locked in from our genitals and our pelvic floor region. Everything is very concentrated there. What you want to do is with breath, and one of the 3 tenets of Tantra is breath, sound, and movement. Start to breathe that pleasure up through your body as you're slowing down. That way, it's not building too much pressure to where it's shooting out your shaft, and that you're actually able through your breath to bring that energy inward and prolong that. Breathing it up will help that arousal to go down just a little bit, so you're not pushing yourself to the point of no return as fast. It helps you, as we're going to get into another tip with edging, but breathe deep and slow, breathe that pleasure up through your body, and take your time. So when your body gets used to going slower with this, then you have muscle memory. And the way your brain works, your brain is your largest sex organ. So when you get your brain used to slowing down in these pleasure practices, you'll be able to slow down when you're with someone else as well. And it will take that pressure off of you. So you're not going to worry as much about how long you're going to last. You're already putting in the reps and doing this in your sex exercises with self pleasure to be able to last longer and allow yourself to have longer experiences. Tip number 2 is to use lube. You can use lotion, but that can dry up fast. Definitely don't use saliva. That's not going to have a lasting lubrication whenever you're self-pleasuring. The reason you want to use lube is you want a lot of lubrication so that it will help you be more sensitive when you're with a female lover. Because the female, whenever she's aroused and wet, she's multi-orgasmic, then more fluids are gushing out and it creates a very wet environment. Years ago, I had a lover that had a challenge with how wet I would get because it was not creating as much friction for him as he was used to whenever he was doing something with his hands or when he was with a lover that wasn't as orgasmic. And as you want to be able to create that sensitivity through the lubrication and being able to stay turned on and aroused when things get really wet. So lube is great for that. I recommend using coconut oil. Non-GMO is best. The other benefit of this is it's going to prevent discomfort too, because you don't want to have too much friction that could irritate your tissues and your skin when you're self-pleasuring. Now, tip number 3 is change your hand position. If you're dominant with your right hand, try it with your left hand. This is really important. And you can think, well, I'm not feeling as aroused. It's feeling a little more awkward when I'm changing positions. Remember, when you're with a lover, your lover may say, hey, I want to change positions. Can I do this? Can I get on top? And that can throw off your rhythm. And if you're not used to changing up positions, then you can have a challenge maintaining the erection. So start to do this practice with yourself. Get used to changing things up and also using the non-dominant hand. Another great tip for this, for lasting longer, is I want you to think that most of the time, whenever you're self-pleasuring, you're doing this technique. So muscle memory within your body and your biceps and your arm, your body and your brain starts to understand after we do this so many times, then we finish. So you want to reverse that grip. So you're throwing things off in your brain and your pleasure pathways and using this technique. So you're creating new pleasure pathways in your brain with neuroplasticity. And this will help you to be able to last longer. By taking your time, we can know how to get from point A to point B very fast. So we just do this really quick. We're like, I just want to have a release. I have a lot of other things to do. And we are not really taking the time with ourselves to fully have an amazing experience and be slower with it. It's just one quick thing to do on our to-do list and we're off to the next thing. Really be present with yourself and take your time with yourself. When you want to attract a better lover that would take their time with you and adore your body and worship your body, you're not going to attract that law of attraction, like attracts like, if you don't show that you deserve to experience a lot of pleasure. You deserve for someone to take their time with you as well and to focus on you and be concerned about you experiencing a lot of pleasure too. If you don't allow yourself to experience the pleasure, you're giving a signal out there with law of attraction. Okay, I'm not worthy of someone taking their time with me. I'm not worthy of experiencing a lot of pleasure or prolonged states of bliss. I just need to get on to the next thing. I'm just a machine or a robot and I've got to do. But remember, you're a human being, not a human doing. So changing this up for yourself will create a ripple effect in your relationships and how you show up when you're with a lover as well. Tip 4 is to include your entire body. Don't just go straight for the genitals whenever you're self-pleasuring. Start to warm yourself up and give yourself foreplay. Try using different techniques. Rub the inside of your thighs with maybe your fingernails or with a massaging touch, and even tease yourself. Tease yourself even before you strip down and take all of your clothes off. Even using things to touch your nipples and do things to get yourself aroused. Take your time with yourself. Be your own best lover. So slowing things down and know that your whole body, you have all this skin with all these amazing nerve endings with so much sensation that you can experience immense pleasure. Allow yourself to feel more pleasure. Again, the more pleasure you can receive and hold, the more pleasure you're able to share. And also the more you receive in other amazing things in your life as well. Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. Tip number 5, have mindful masturbation. That might sound really woo, but this is what makes tantric lovers the best. Your brain is your largest sex organ. Slowing things down and letting that arousal build up will help you have a more satisfying climax at the end. And also meditating and having a meditation practice helps you in the bedroom because with the brain being the largest sex organ for males, the longer you can stay in a meditative state, the longer you can last in the bedroom. For females, the longer we can stay in meditative states, the more easy it is for us to be orgasmic. be more intentional and connect to the pleasure and the sensations in your body. And don't just disconnect and think about the list of things that you need to do or what's the next thing you're going to jump into or distracting yourself. Really connect in with your pleasure and the energy and the arousal that's going through your body. Be aware of even the subtle sensations. And when you know how to make this mind body connection and enhance it with mindfulness, you will become the very best lover because you're deeply connected. So we can only connect with another person as deeply as we connect with ourselves. So if you want to be an amazing lover to someone else, it starts with you. Now, tip 6 is changing positions. What you may tend to do is just sit back in a chair the way you always do or up on the couch, and you have this routine of how you have the pleasure. One, you don't want to get into these routines because that's why you're finishing faster, because the brain is so used to going down this slope with neuroplasticity. It's so used to going down this pathway. It's, oh, I've been here before a bazillion times. I know how to get here. We're going to finish soon. Boom, boom, boom. And this translates whenever you're with someone else outside of your masturbation times. This is going to be how you show up with someone else too, how you're showing up with yourself. The reason changing positions is important is a lot of times what happens is when you have tension in your body, you're holding tension, that can have you finish faster. That's why breath, sound, and movement help you be a better lover with Tantra. Sound is really great because sound is like a thief and it steals the tension from your body. So you want to have less tension. The more tension a man holds in his body, the faster he will finish. The more tension a woman holds in her body, the longer it will take for her to be orgasmic. When you're self-pleasuring, do some of the positions that you would do with a lover, because you may notice when you're on top and you're tightening up your core and you're thrusting, all of a sudden there's a buildup in the tension as you're holding that position. And so you want to get used to holding these positions and then stimulating yourself and lasting longer in this process. It's so important that you do this. So changing things up, like I shared earlier, you won't be thrown off when a lover is like, hey, can we change a position like this? I know I've had some lovers and I'm like, hey, I want to try to do like this. And then they might lose their erection. Some of my best lovers are able to be unfazed by that because they have this high level of self-mastery. You need to put these reps in when you're doing your solo practices, when you're on your own. You don't want to try to master this when you're with a lover because then you're going to lack the confidence and the skill that you need. And she also may get frustrated and may not desire to have sex with you as often because you're finishing faster. You don't have this mastery. We as women can tell when you're practicing on us. We're very intuitive. It can literally feel as if you're just masturbating inside of our bodies. Do your masturbation practices on your own and start to develop and build that skill up and then share it with us. And it can be an unforgettable experience for both of us. And you will be a lover that she craves. She will begin desiring to have sex with you as much or even more than you desire to have sex. It's a game changer. Tip number 7, start to tease yourself. Do things that really turn you on, stimulate your body, pinch your nipples, do things that get you aroused, but then lower that pleasure back down. Don't be so fast on this mission. Take the time with yourself, prolong that pleasure through different sensations, different things that you enjoy, and allow that arousal to build up in your body. And that brings us into edging, which is another great tip. Edging is going to help you to last longer as well. I want you to think of an arousal scale as 0 being not turned on at all, 10 being orgasmic. What you want to do is play around in the space and see how long can you stay between a 5 and a 7. If you stay at a 7 too long, pretty quick and go to 8, 9, 10. Game over, right? Stay as long as you can between 5 and 7, and then use different practices of breathing the energy up through your body that turn on, pausing for a moment so you're able to slow down and allow that arousal to go back down to a 5 and play within this scale. When I work with clients, I give them amazing tips and pointers on this. And we do this in my men's group program too, of learning how to edge through tantric edging. I even teach my clients how to have non-ejaculatory orgasms. They're able to separate their orgasm from their ejaculation and be multi-orgasmic and have stamina for hours. And tantric edging is one of the foundational practices they start to do so they can experience this high level of peak performance. Another important tip is increasing that sensitivity. Using the lube helps you increase sensitivity, but don't always use the super grip, because whenever you're with a woman and she's really wet, she's not going to have that same grip as a dry hand or a really strong grip like you make with a tight fist. Start to play around, especially when you're edging, with using different sensations, massaging it more lightly, then sometimes just a squeeze, then changing it up a little bit. You're starting to change that sensitivity. so that you're able to stay erect and maintain the erection even whenever you're not having a super powerful grip. This is what helps you to last longer as a male whenever you're with a lover too. The next tip is about using toys. Sometimes men are like, oh, toys are just for women. I'm not going to do that. Just stay open because this can really enhance your experience. One thing a lot of men don't realize is that your G spot is actually the P spot or the prostate gland. I've been a nurse for decades. And one of the things that's so interesting is that whenever we're in utero, when we're little clump of cells and we haven't differentiated into whether we're going to be anatomically male or anatomically female, this same cluster of cells that forms the G spot in women forms the P spot in men. Unfortunately, though, your P spot got shoved up your ass. So a lot of men can feel some type of way about this, that it's very taboo. They're not comfortable doing anything with the back door. They have concerns about how they identify as a man if they're doing this. But one, this is your body. If anyone deserves to enjoy your body and explore it, it's you. And you doing that is not identifying who you are sexually. So dismiss those things, but it's important to do them in a safe way. Because also as a nurse, I have taken care of patients that had to have toys surgically removed because they can easily be sucked in and go up into the intestines as well. It can be super embarrassing. I've had some patients, I've had to go in and check their surgery sites and they're just mortified because we all know what happened and it happens more often than you would think. So it's really important if you do want to do anything with backdoor play. One, there are things that are a lot smaller so you can gently guide yourself through this practice, but be sure that it has a wide base or even a wider base for anal play so that nothing gets lost inside your body. I'm going to demonstrate here. There's these things called these little eggs that you can put whenever you're giving yourself pleasure. And on the inside, they're textured and they can have a variation of different textures. You can put the sleeve on the shaft. And then whenever you're doing this and you're massaging, you're getting a different sensation, different pleasure. And then you can squirt some of that coconut oil in here as well. And then of course, wash them with soap afterwards, but you can do that and it will enhance that experience. One of the most important tips here is don't rely on using adult videos too much. When you start to become dependent on this within your brain, you increase the risk of having ED. Younger and younger men are having higher incidences of ED because when they begin self-pleasuring as teens, they have started watching videos because this stuff is so easily accessible. Think of past generations. They might be lucky if they find their mom's Sears catalog with a photo of someone in lingerie or a swimsuit, or if dad had a Playboy magazine. And this is just a still image. So it has a different impact on our brain, again, largest sex organ. But when you have a video that's constantly giving you the money shot and you're getting these images of pussy tits ass, and you rapid fire sequence, then when you're with a lover, maybe lights are low or you're in missionary position, your body is like, hey, where's all that stimulation we're used to getting? So try to wean yourself off of watching anything with the videos. And if anything at all, use a still image, but try to get to where you can just use your imagination, because that is going to help you to, one, be able to have stronger erections when you're with someone else. This way you're able to last longer when you're with a lover and adult videos are not playing in the background. A woman really wants you to be intimately connected. Unless, of course, a woman that has intimacy blocks, they might not desire intimacy, but that's a whole other conversation. But women that have a healthy relationship with themselves and are open and not guarded and allow themselves to fully receive pleasure, they're going to desire deeper intimacy. So it's really important that you're able to not just be physically in their bodies and mentally over here thinking of some scenarios or something that turns you on in your head, that you're able to really be able to stay in those aroused states while being present and dropped in with them. Whenever women can feel your presence and your connection, that is the greatest gift. Your size isn't even what truly matters. It's how long can you last and how deep can you have presence and connection with them. We get so caught up because of watching adult videos. You start to think, how deep can I go with my equipment? But really, it's how much depth can you have as a lover? How present can you be? And meditation and mindfulness also help you connect more deeply. And that is something that very few men have mastered. And when you're able to do this, women love it. You're almost like a unicorn. It's so uncommon these days. So doing this really sets you apart as a lover. And then once you are in those orgasmic states and you have climax, allow yourself to fully receive that pleasure. Lay there in that moment. Don't be quick to jump up and clean things up. This is a conditioned thing too from the teen years when you first start self-pleasuring. You don't want your parents to catch you, so you quickly get rid of all the evidence and you get used to being in this habit of this is what you do whenever you're self-pleasuring. No, change it up and start to just allow yourself to fully receive that pleasure. Just lay there in those moments and bask in that amazingness of what just happened and breathe that all up through your cells, imagining that turn on, just energizing each cell of your body and breathe it fully through you and allow yourself to receive it. And you'll notice that you start to increase your magnetism, increasing your charisma because you're in this receptive state and you allow yourself to receive and you know that you're worthy of feeling more pleasure in the bed and you're worthy of receiving more in the world too. It's really wild how when men start to show up for themselves this way, they start to show up differently when they're with their lovers, and you start to show up differently in business because how we do one thing is how we do everything. It's so connected. If we're not confident in the bedroom, we're not going to be confident in the boardroom. We're not going to be confident in the Zoom room. And that translates into business success, all different things in our lives. Are women attracted to you? All of those things are so super connected. Now, if you're ready to take your stamina to the next level, check out my free stamina guide. You can find it in the description below, and it's also here in the links on my channel. It's packed with tips and strategies to enhance your performance. Just click the link, download that guide, and start experiencing the massive benefits today. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I've got plenty more insights where this came from. In the description, you can sign up to be on the wait list for my men's coaching group. And if you prefer one-to-one coaching, you can also apply for a complimentary discovery call. During the discovery call, we'll explore how we can work together, what goals or challenges that you currently have, and which of my programs would best help you to break through any challenge that you're having and up-level your life both in and outside the bedroom. Blessings.